Let's talk today about mean girls. In my own experience, I talked to my daughter about this. She's a beautiful girl and very lucky for me, factory settings. She's an incredibly kind girl, a really empathetic girl. And I adore that. But as we're entering tween stages, you kind of start to run across this mean girl phenomenon. And I think all of us are pretty familiar with Mean Girls and have seen Mean Girls and have seen the Mean Girls movie. But they just exist and they will always exist. And not just girls too, mean kids. There's mean kids out there. But I think we have to take some onus when it comes to this topic. In short, I tell my kid, I can't go to war for you if I don't have all the information. If I don't know what I'm fighting for, I can't help. But I do tell my kids I will always have their back. That's a really big deal to me. And I want to make sure that we are just in the right. And to be in the right on something, to use like adult judgment, is to have all the information. And my kid, my daughter has theater kid tendencies. And theater people, you can't have my child. She's mine. She's going to be a sports girl. Look elsewhere. But it's important that when she is telling me something, and my daughter is a great sharer, I'm very blessed that we have cultivated a relationship like this. But you've got to ask follow-up questions, especially when it comes to friendships and relationships that girls have. Because when you start to hitting those tween years, it just seems there's a ton of drama, there's a ton of hurt feelings, ton of misunderstandings, nuance, tone, whatever. There's just a lot going on. And it's not fun to deal with, but you have to kind of tread lightly, I think. I've cultivated from the beginning a relationship where my daughter and I are incredibly close, and she tells me everything. And there's some things that, I'm a chamber of secrets about, and no one will ever know. And there's some things where I go, hey, okay, I need to weigh in on this for you. Sometimes even like, hey, I need to handle this as an adult. Like, this is mine now. Thank you for sharing, but I need to step in and handle this in a certain kind of way. So we're going to do that. And I do my best to make it as hands-off as possible, where it doesn't, make her look like she runs and tells her mom everything. But I also tell her constantly that it's my job to protect her from the world and to help her, understand and interpret things. And so it is really important that she can bring me the good and the bad. So anywho, that's how I'm raising my kiddo. If that's similar to you or something you'd like to cultivate, it does take a long time. And you either know that or you're kind of, maybe that seems daunting. But you just need to dig deeper with your kid, probably. I know I did, and I do. Especially your daughter. She comes home and says that this person was mean to me today, or this person and I got into a fight today, or this person did this. Like, I go hard for my kids on this, but I also go hard on them. Like, don't lie to me or don't embellish, because if this is what happened, then it's time to go to war. And I can be a little scorched earth, and I rein that in the best that I can. But if you bring something to me, I'm assuming that you're being 100% honest. So if I get you in a lie on something, it ruins that trust. And you can't go scorch earth on somebody when you're in the wrong. That's obviously super inappropriate. But I want my kids to know that I always have their back, and that I'm on their team. But I need all the information. And so I think it's really important with girls to ask some follow-up questions. It's really easy to get in your own feelings as a mom and immediately go like, oh my gosh, he said what? Or she said what? Or what happened? That's normal, totally normal. I feel that way too. But we've got to pull ourselves back out of that. I'm guilty, just as guilty as everyone else. But it is really important. And I guess I'm coming to you as a girl who was picked on and was misunderstood in school. And then also as a teacher who watched, as young girls kind of go through this weird stage of coming of age. And it's not easy. So as a mom, if you want your girl to cultivate like really great female friendships, and you do want that, you've got to help her. You've got to show her how to do it. And we also have to do it kind of collectively. If we all show our girls how to do this well, then it helps everybody, and everybody has an easier time of it. So again, my kid has a little bit of these theater kid tendencies. So there's a lot of follow-up questions. Like, this person yelled at me. They yelled at you? Like, they screamed at you? No? Okay. They talked loudly at you? Was the volume loud? Like other people heard? No. Okay. They spoke to you with conviction? It was a statement? Okay, now we're getting somewhere. It's just really important to kind of dial into exactly what happened and to help them by modeling it for them. And I know that seems kind of deep, I guess, but it's important. Nuance is important. Tone is important, especially to girls. These are soft skills that kids who are kind of raised by the internet now don't necessarily have. So your kid will have an advantage if they're able to do this. If you can help them to better interpret interpersonal relationships, and to do that, you have to show them how to do it. You've got to model it. So it's also a great time to practice kind of like empathy. So what do you think she felt like when you said that? Why do you think she said that? Why do you think this happened? And then just kind of dissecting it a little bit. But your job as the parent, as the mom, is not to pick it apart and teach your daughter to be neurotic about it, but it is your job to help her interpret it, to understand it, and be able to kind of move forward. Like, okay, this is what happened. This person felt embarrassed. They felt like I'm the one that embarrassed them. They lashed out. It was inadvertent. I didn't mean to. But apology would go a long way to smoothing this over. Cool. And again, that's not how I handle everything, but it's helpful to kind of dig in a little bit deeper so that you can actually put your emotions aside a little bit and model that for your kid. To be like, hey, look, let's analyze it a little bit. Like, let's take our feelings out of it for a second and, take a different look. And if you can think about it this way, it makes it a lot easier to deal with girl drama, because what you don't want is to compound it by like being the girl drama mama. Oh my gosh, that's the worst. Don't do that. It is the absolute worst. So if you can kind of compartmentalize and take a bird's eye view and help your kid out to learn how to step outside of their own ego, which again, all kids are egotistical. It's not their fault. It's developmentally just where they live. They also live in embarrassment and in feelings and in hormones and everything. It's all about them. It's how their brains are programmed. So cut them some slack there. But also have them step back and say, hey, are you in your head right now? Do you need to step back and look at this from, 10,000 feet? And usually, yes, they do. And that's like putting themselves in another person's shoes. And it's just taking a breath and stepping back and looking at it and pretending it's 5 years from now and looking back and thinking about it. Those are the kind of things that can be really helpful. So I'm probably preaching to the choir. You guys are probably already doing this. I have a lot of great mom friends that are older than me that have been through a lot of these stages before and who have definitely helped me to kind of navigate it. But as my own kids start to roll into this sort of like hormones, preteen vibes, it's helpful to be reminded. Because I can remember when my daughter was 3 and she had a play date, and the little girl, I think, was like 4 or 5, maybe just like a little bit older. And my daughter was about to turn 4, I think, but still pretty young. And she's like toddling around, but also like old enough to say, you're my best friend. And she told this little girl, you're my best friend. And the little girl was like, you're not my best friend. And when I tell you, I wanted to take that little girl and just like put her on the front porch and call her mom and be like, come get your kid. She's not welcome in my home. Like, I get it. It was just rage. Like, do not hurt my kid. Nobody wants to see their kid get hurt. So I understand it. And I understand that like feeling of, I will burn down the world. But we're supposed to be creating and molding and shaping really valuable, important, special humans. And in order to do that, we have to help them check their ego. And usually that's us checking our ego too and going, okay, is this me being like a total crazy pants and like revenge? Or is this what's best for my kid? And usually what's best for your kid is to calm down, take a breath, and evaluate the situation like an adult. And they don't know how to do that yet. And that's our job. Our job is to teach them how to do that. So we have to show them. And if more than one of us can do that, it really, really helps, because then our daughters can navigate this space with moms who have experience in this space to help them to do better. We can save some tears. We can save some hurt feelings. We can save some, clicks and anger things by just really digging into what our kids share with us. And no, I'm not saying ask them 20 questions and they're not going to want to tell you everything. But for the most part, if you start this when your kids are young, they do want to tell you everything. You're their people and they're your people. So you should have a strong bond. And if you don't have that bond right this second, no judgment from me. Seriously. But the good news is you can start cultivating it like immediately. You can't ask them 20 questions immediately. But you can definitely start asking more questions and letting them know why you're interested. And then also knowing the flip side of this is they're going to spill their guts to you sometimes. And you're like exhausted and not interested. And my son is constantly telling me about Zelda. And like, I want to die. But it's important to him right now. So I have to listen. My daughter does the same thing with her school day, and it's a lot to listen to. but it's important to them. And if you listen to what's important to them, they'll bring you all of the things. And you want that. You have to listen to the stories. You have to listen to their silly jokes and the things you don't understand or the things that are super annoying. You got to listen to that part too. If you want that deep relationship, you have to listen on both ends. And if you really want to help your kid, I think that's the best way to do it. To listen and then weigh in as an adult and model the behavior you want to see out of them. If we want to raise great kids, we kind of have to be great parents too. At least I'm figuring that out slowly. Thanks for listening.